Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. With what we've got today is a 1 litre Ecoboost Mark 8 Fiesta ST. This little car is a very popular car. It's a highly underrated little car as well, actually, to be quite honest with you. The engine in these cars are highly tunable, to a certain extent, highly tunable for what they are. This model here is the 100 horsepower model. The customer bought this car thinking it was a 140, and it turned out it was only 100 horsepower. So he's brought it in today for one of our stage 1 tuning packages. So the customer only runs 95 octane fuel, so that is what we need to tune on today. So we're going to install the SD Performance Induction Kit, and then we're going to move on to tuning the car to suit the fuel type that it's currently running. If we tune on that fuel type, then it means it can use anything upwards of that and it will gain slightly more power. But it can always use 95 run without running the risk of blowing his engine, because generally that is what ends up breaking these cars, is people tuning them for one type of fuel and then switching it on to the kind of lower octanes, and that is what leads to problems. Either that or installing hardware incorrectly also causes them to fail. So we're going to run through a couple of pre-dyno checks, and then we're going to get cracking, install the intake and see what it can do standard from there. It's been a while since I've installed an induction kit. Usually it's Alan that does these kind of things for us now, and I just focus on software, but I thought for the purposes of this video I might as well go for it. But I've just lost both of the rubbers. So now I need to go hunting for them in his under tray. That's just wonderful. Now this is absolutely not what this thing was designed for, but adapt and overcome when you can't see. Haha, found you. Well, found one of you. Let's see how far my arms can stretch. I'm able to stretch Armstrong. Just spent all that time looking for the last little rubber thing, not to realise that it actually slipped through it and went down here and just landed in between the dyno rollers. All that hunting for that. That's us get both now, so we can enjoy installing the induction kit. So now I'm just smoke testing the car, just to make sure there's no leaks, but if anything, what I'm wanting it to do is feel pressure pushing against it, which I can already feel. You can see it's already starting to come out of there, so that means the system's pressurising and there's no leaks coming from it, and that we're good to start tuning as soon as we've got the intake installed. So we're just about to install the Mark 8 1 litre SD Performance Induction Kit. Now we really like this induction kit simply because it's got the little hole that you can bolt on the sensor to when you've got a GPF model car. So it consists of the heat shield, the sensor housing and the nice big air filter. So this sensor housing is all single piece billet as well, nice step up, so it can connect straight into the filter itself and you can get a nice big filter on it. So we're going to go ahead and install it, and then we can get right into the tuning.
It was night and day when you entered the space of me. Burn me alive with your cutting stare.
So now that the induction kit's all installed, all I need to do is take a read of the ECU, which, judging by this one, I'm pretty sure I've not done one for that yet. I'll do a couple of runs with the car standard, see what power it makes. Usually these cars actually overperform in comparison to a lot of them underperforming. These Mark 8s are actually notorious for overperforming, so we'll see what it does, and then we can start making adjustments for there. We'll start quite basic, start with the air fuel ratio, because we need to just get all that right from the get-go, and then build it up. These don't run like the Mark 7s used to run. These run more like a Focus RS and, you know, the more, well, modern stuff, and they all kind of run similar ECU structures. So with knowing that, then we can base our changes around that. But these are a fair bit harder to control than the likes of the Mark 7s. So we'll take it in increments and work our way up to where we think is a safe power level for the customer. We're not aiming for the absolute maximum figures, there's just no need for it. The guy just wants a simple power upgrade that's going to be safe enough for his daily driving. We've done one for him already, he's more than happy with that, so we want to achieve figures very similar to that, just in the 95 octane fuel. So we're now inside the 1 litre EcoBoost. These cars are notoriously difficult to get the traction control to switch off, so we're going to try our best for just by pressing the buttons. Usually it can take a wee while to get in, so I just need to steady up the RPM and do a couple of pulls with it, see where it sits at standard, and then we can start making our tuning adjustments from there. Why you do this? Just turn off. I could go out and start pulling sensors, but usually I just need to sit with the foot to the floor for a wee while and it'll go up. I'll maybe give it a wee bit of the shoe a few times, it'll jump about and then eventually release itself. Come on, go off, release. Release! Ah!
Approximately 10 hours later.
Aha! Finally! Relief. Right, now we can steady the RPMs. So select 2000 RPM. Let's see what this little number can do. Now, this is only meant to be 100 horsepower. Oh yes, the power. The power. That was absolutely wonderful. You know what, the wheel horsepower is actually quite high. It's strange how you can get some cars that underperform, like the Focus RS, and then you get some cars that overperform by 13 horsepower. That's quite good. 113 horsepower to start with. Still a bit, you know, bleh, as far as power's concerned, but that gives us a good base to work from, means the car's healthy. So let's get the first changes made and see where it goes from there with the base tune on it. I'm pretty confident I'll be able to do this fairly quickly, but I just want to test it slowly but surely and then build it up from there. So now that we have the raw ECU data, we can go through, find all the maps that we need and start changing them. So like I said before, I'm going to basically just take it in increments, work my way up, and just make this as safe as I possibly can. People, when they think that ECU data, when you're remapping an ECU, everything's just laid out, set out for you, ready to go. It's not the case at all when it comes to stock ECU tuning. That might be the case on standalone, where all the maps are clearly labelled, but it's definitely not the case when it comes to this type of ECU tuning. Generally, if we're working blind, we'll have to like go through all of these and, you know, try and find what kind of looks roughly like a map that we've potentially seen before, as they generally hold the same kind of shapes and stuff like that. Or you can work from, you know, other files which give you the definitions, but the definitions are quite, you know, complicated and stuff like that, and then it's trying to work around all of them. But because I've done loads of these 1 litre EcoBoosts, I already know what I'm doing, so I just need to go in, find all the maps, create a base tune, and then go from there. So let's get to it. Right, so I've now completed the 95 RON bass tune. The problem with 95 RON is it's quite, you know, susceptible to like knock. So we can't go like firing in loads of ignition advance. We don't really want to do that with a bass tune anyway. So we'll build up to that point. If we can add in ignition, then we can. But I've not added a lot of boost, so it's not something that I think we'll run into any problems with anytime soon. The idea is just to get this up to a nice level. So we don't want to go full blown out and run it, you know, at its limit. We want to just get it up a little bit. So I've tweaked a couple of torque tables. I've played about with the air fuel ratio. So we'll see what those changes do. We'll log it and see how much more it gives us over the kind of 100 horsepower base that we've got. I reckon roughly around 135 to maybe 140 horsepower this should see, which in theory should be enough, but if the logs look good then I'll change it again. Right, so we've now uploaded the map to the car. We're just rigging up the logger at the moment. Going to use full scan for a change. It's the thing, some loggers are better than others on certain cars. 4Scan's a pretty good all-rounder. Good thing is the car started straight away, but that's because we know what we're doing with these cars. Loads of tuners tend to brick these because there's a certain few things you need to do at the file before you upload it. So it's quite common for a lot of kind of small time tuners who don't do a lot of these that end up just bricking the car and it doesn't start. That can end up quite a costly repair. Just now need this to release. And let's go. Oh, the logs are beautiful. And what a jump that was over stock. So I've already seen a massive increase. Just need to wait and finishing the coast down. Now we can see how much we've gained. 138.9, so that's good. That's kind of where we need to be. So we're going to go back into the file, adjust a couple of bits and bobs. That should allow the boost to come up a little bit at the top end. These cars are quite good for, you know, having plenty of tunability. Right now at 138.8 or whatever it was, you know, that's a pretty good start. That is realistically round about where we want to be, but we know we can do a little bit better than that. So we want to give this customer the absolute best. He doesn't want it absolutely flat out. He just wants a nice gain over what he had. He wanted the 140 model when he was buying it, and that wasn't what he was given. So that is what we're aiming to give him, is round about that level of performance with that kind of level of reliability as well. So right now we are on track from where we need to be. Anything over 140, I'm going to be more than happy with where we're at. I'm not aiming to get big figures with this car. That is not today's aim at all. It's just to give this guy a nice driving little car. It's not all about making massive figures. Yes, we can do it, but the good thing about coming here is that we have complete adjustability. Other places it's generally just a flash and dash, but we can tailor it to your needs if this is something that you want done. Now, 9 times out of 10 we will already have a working solution, because the beauty of this style of mapping is it should work every single time regardless. As long as the car is healthy, it should just work. That is the good thing. That's the way Ford do it. It's like a PCM update and it will just run, and everything will run within a certain tolerance. If it doesn't do that, then 9 times out of 10 that's not exactly a good thing. If you need to custom tune every single car, then it's not ideal. It means that something's not quite set up right. But as some cars get older, sometimes they change bits. Generally when these cars leave the factory, they're within a certain tolerance, so your map should be within a certain tolerance whenever you upload it. So if we've not already got a working solution, then 9 times out of 10 we'll just need to develop it on the day or however long it takes us. A lot of these maps for us are developed over months and months worth of learning and, you know, constant trial and error. It's just now that we've got the kind of grips of things, that we know how the ECU works, we can make these changes and see exactly what we're doing and know how this ECU works. You know, if we didn't know, then today would take a hell of a lot longer. You wouldn't be able to turn this around in such a quick time. But because we know exactly how it works, we know what we're changing and what the difference it's going to make. So now we're going to go and make a couple of changes, try and bring the boost up a bit at the top end, because it is tailing off a little bit towards the top. And then that should be us in a happy place. Like I said, we don't really want to be touching ignition advance. We want to keep that nice and safe, so that this car has got the optimum reliability. So let's go and make the changes, run it again, and then see what figure we end up with. Right, so now we've uploaded version 2 and we just need to get it to, once again, allow us to do a pull with it. Come on, accelerate, go through. ABS, don't, no! No! Oh, back to the waiting game. Give it the old shoot, come on. This just loves it. Loves just giving me grief. Okay, that's a lot better now. Even on the first pull, that was significantly better than what it was. The graph just overall was a lot nicer. So the car's now at where I want it to be. It's at 142 brake horsepower, and I think on 95 octane, for this car and for this customer, this is all we need. We don't need any more than that. We can keep going, we could keep going, but it's risk versus reward with safety. So I'd rather keep it safe, keep it happy, and stick with 142 horsepower. And I'm pretty sure the customer will be over the moon with that. It's a drastic increase over what he had. It's, you know, over 30 horsepower. So I think that's where we'll leave it at today. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Leave a comment down below with what you would like to see in the channel, and we will try our best to get it done for you. We've got a couple of cool projects coming up. We've got one of these to do that is a hybrid turbo, so we'll get to play a little bit more with that and see how much it makes. But for all, thanks for watching.